And welcome back to the Scarlet to the Land podcast, the podcast where you can find all of the best Ohio State and Browns content. I am, of course, joined by Big Jake. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing today?
Doing well. Well, we got a lot to get into. Of course, the Browns today. A big announcement out of Cleveland. Joel Bitonio, longtime Browns guard, has retired after 12 seasons with the team. A guy that, again, he's a Browns legend. He's an NFL legend, and the Browns, they're going to be affected by that. That's right after the Myles Garrett trade, so that's two gut punches in a row. So definitely been a tough couple of weeks for the Browns.
Yeah. I was kind of expecting this. Joe, fantastic offensive guard for us. Everything that he's lived through. The quarterback circus, multiple coaching changes, 1-31. Most guys would want out. And we were lucky to have a player like Joel at offensive guard, and you see the same thing with Joe Thomas. He was a 7-time Pro Bowler, 2-time all-first team. And I think if you're discussing Hall of Fame type offensive lineman, I think that's exactly what Joel was. He had the longevity. He dominated an era, if you ask me. Maybe our team didn't, but he did, just like Joe Thomas.
Certainly not. The team certainly did not.
It sucks to see him go, but I'm happy for him. He was able to go out on his own terms, which is great. He's a Cleveland Brown for life. I'm hoping that they can kind of keep him around the organization because he was one of the best leaders we have always had in that locker room. Teammates loved him. And I want to thank him, for 12 hard football seasons. I wish we could have done better, but, he's stuck in Cleveland. He loves his Browns, and we love him.
Absolutely. Like you said, him and Joe Thomas, man, the two guys that were here for the ups, which there were few, and the downs, which there were many. So, forever grateful for Joel Bitonio, and forever grateful for Myles Garrett. Two guys that, again, they give it their all, and legends in their own right. But what we're here to talk about, of course, with those guys now gone, with everything that has transpired in this offseason, the Browns, they still have to play some football games. And, looking at the schedule, which I will pull up on the screen, it's widely considered to be one of the easier schedules in football, comparative to the rest of the league. Now, what does that mean for the Browns? Well, it really doesn't mean much, because we're terrible. We're expected to be terrible. But that doesn't change the fact that, again, it is one of the easier schedules, which is favorable at the end of the day. A chance to string together some wins, a chance to get a look at some of the young guys, see what they can do this season, some of our rookies, some of our guys coming back for year two. So we're going to go game by game. Each of us will give our thoughts, and we'll compare at the end as the records. So, week 1 against the Jaguars. For me, I'm going to go with a loss. This is an away game. You got to play a team that made the playoffs last year under a great, well-coached team under Coach Cohen, and I just think, the Browns, they're just not going to be able to get it done.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm also going to start this off with a loss. I actually think we do match up good with Jacksonville. I was there in 2024. Luckily, we won that game, so I got to see one of our 3 wins that year. That was fantastic. But, the history of week 1 for us, I want to have faith that, this Todd Monken era is going to be a lot different with these guys. But, first game, you got Cohen that, he was absolutely phenomenal with them last year, and I just expect them to really take another step this year. And like I said, I do think we match up well. I'm not a fan of week 1s for the Cleveland Browns. We've won 1 in like the last 20 years. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and agree with you on this one and start the season off 0-1.
It's one of those things that, you have a new coach and Todd Monken, and again, you're on the road. So it's going to be a tough one for the Browns. Moving on to week 2, Tampa. At Tampa, again, I'm going to go with a loss. Those 2 games are going to be brutal for the Browns, going up against Baker Mayfield. One thing that's interesting about this team, this Bucs team, for the first time in a long time, they don't have Mike Evans, so that could be a challenge. But just looking at that matchup, I don't love it for the Browns. I think that you're going to see them struggle against this team.
Yeah, I am going to also agree with you again here. I do have us losing this game. Unfortunately, I will be there, hoping that will bring us some kind of luck. My wife and I sitting in the 100-degree heat in Tampa Stadium. Yeah. That's going to be fantastic. But I think this is a winnable game. But until, with a new regime coming in, man, I want to be hopeful, but I'm also just a realist about the Browns until I see them actually wake up and make some noise. I think this is that Baker Mayfield revenge type of game, even though we already played him and beat him. Stefanski's no longer here. I do think, Todd Monken was here, though, when Baker was here, if you remember, with Freddie Kitchens. And with everything that's been released this week on his contract situation, there's been a whole bunch of talk I've been seeing on X, like, come on back, Baker. And
no.
I'm not one of those guys. I didn't want Deshaun Watson, but I was completely ready to move on from Baker, but I do agree with you here. I think we start the season
0-2. Week 3, this is against the Panthers.
Yeah.
I'm going to give us a win here. We're going to be 1-2 at this point. I think, Bryce Young, he's a guy that has made a lot of improvement. I'm still not terribly high on him. I'm not high on their receivers. Xavier Legette, I don't see much upside with him and just their offense in general. I think that they're a well-coached team with Dave Canales. Their defense has been solid for a couple of seasons now, but I think, again, this is a winnable game for the Browns, and I think that they're going to come home. The energy is going to be there, and you're going to see the Browns pull this one out.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I have us winning this game as well. I'm not a Bryce Young believer necessarily. I do, I feel you on Legette, but I do like Ted McMillan. I do think he's a really good receiver. I'm just not sold on this Carolina team. I think they played a lot better last year. Wasn't a very tough schedule to begin with, though. And like you said, I think our defensive line is going to give them a lot of issues, and I trust, the duo of Tyson Campbell and Denzel Ward. And I think Denzel will remain a Cleveland Brown, especially, he had came out this week and said, even after the Miles trade, he does not want to be anywhere else but Cleveland. So I think this is a very winnable game for the Browns. Like you said, our first home game of the year. I expect the energy. You know how the dog pound is. We bring the energy like no other, and I do expect the Browns to win this game.
Week 4, the Browns, they go and battle the Steelers. This is also a home game.
Prime time, the only prime time game.
The only prime time game for the Browns at home. The Steelers, they have a new coach. Aaron Rodgers, he's coming back for another season. I'm going to give the Browns a win here. I think that, the Steelers defense, it's still going to be stout. You're going to have to stop TJ Watt. You're going to have to stop Cam Hayward. But with these changes on the offensive line, I really like Titus Howard. I think he has a lot of potential. Elton Jenkins, which you signed at the offseason. So I think this Browns offensive line against this, they match up well against the Steelers defensive line, and I'm not worried about the Steelers secondary against the Browns receivers. If guys like Denzel Boston, if guys like Casey Concepcion are as advertised.
Yeah, and Zion Johnson as well from the Chargers, which, he started off a little rough, but I do like his upside. I am happy that they got him on the deal that they did because I do trust with Warhop in that offensive line room that he will get the most out of all of these guys. I think Monken did a fantastic job, building this staff. A lot of these Baltimore guys came to him instead of John Harbaugh, which That was something I didn't necessarily expect, and I do think
Right. Yeah.
he's one of the best in the business. So I do agree with you here on Thursday night. It just seems like the Browns have the Steelers' number no matter what at home at this point. Pittman with the Steelers, he's a very good receiver. I'm just not a believer in that offensive line nor Aaron Rodgers right now. He's 42 years old. I don't think he was great last year either. So I do agree with you. I have the Browns 2-2 through week 4.
Browns and Jets, week 5, matching up with the Jets. Aaron Glenn, he's going to be in his second year as head coach. They have Geno Smith under center. I'm going to give the Browns the win here at 3-2. I think under new defensive coordinator Mike Rutenberg, the Browns defense is going to have a field day. Despite them having options like Breece Hall, like Garrett Wilson, I think the Browns are going to pull this one out.
We're agreeing a lot today because I also think the Browns win this game.
Okay.
Geno, I think Geno had his little comeback. It was awesome to see, but I am not a believer in Geno, and I'm still a huge believer in our defense. I'm not real worried about the running game either. They are an improved football team. I mean, I think both of these teams, they're both rebuilding right now. I think they're more into a deeper rebuild than we are. I think we're more talented right now, which is why I think they'll go on the road and win this game.
3-2 at this point. They go on and play the Ravens at home. Going to give the Browns a win here. This is where you and I, we could disagree. I think that, the momentum carrying from the Jets game is going to allow the Browns to pull this one out. Obviously, Lamar Jackson, he's going to be a guy that the Browns are going to have to look to stop. Very mobile with his legs as well as his passing ability. They have options like Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers. They did lose Isaiah Likely to the New York Giants. But I actually like the Browns in this one.
Yeah, this is going to be our first disagreement here. I do have the Ravens winning this game, but I don't hate you predicting a win here. They lost their entire coaching staff, so we'll see what Minter and them guys can do. I mean, I think he was a solid hire overall. Even when he was at Michigan, I knew he was going to be a problem in DC, regardless of everything that happened in Ann Arbor. Cheating scum, if you ask me. But
absolutely.
But no, at the end of the day, it's one of those things where I have to see it to believe it with the Browns. And I do think the Ravens right now are a more talented team, and I do like what they still have on defense. I think Lamar is going to be a big problem for us, especially with not having Myles Garrett around anymore to put significant pressure on him, and he would still find ways to make plays and pretty much always beat us. So, yeah, I have a sitting 3-3 at this point.
I think with the Browns, the reason why I'm somewhat confident in this game as a win, one is Todd Monken. I think that, he knows, obviously, the guys that he's coached for the last couple of seasons. He knows Lamar Jackson. He knows guys like Derrick Henry and Zay Flowers. And I think that he's going to be able to game plan and tell Mike Rutenberg, like, hey, this is what's going to go on. That, here's their tendencies. And I think the Browns, they're going to end up shocking the Ravens. One thing that the Browns have notoriously done is they have a unique ability to stop Derrick Henry. Henry has historically bad numbers against the Browns in particular, so that's another key matchup they're going to have to look out for as they take on the Ravens in Week 6.
I think our run defense, I expect it to actually be better this year.
Yes.
I think Verse, may already be more polished as, a run stopper than Myles ever was. And obviously I expect Mason Graham and hopefully Hall as well, as long as he can stay healthy.
Right, he needs to stay healthy.
So, yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I just, like I said, it's just one of those things that I have to see it to believe it, but I don't hate that pick by you.
I have the Browns at 4-2 at this point. You have them at 3-3. Looking ahead, you have the Browns against the Titans at the Titans. Cam Ward, he's a talented player. He's a guy that, with the right weapons around him, he can be a really, really good quarterback. Obviously, an entirely new coaching staff. I'm going to give the Browns a loss here. I just think the Titans, they're going to take a big step this year under Robert Saleh, of course, adding guys like Cardinal Tate into the mix. And again, Cam Ward's incredibly talented, so I'm going to give the Browns a loss in this one.
And I am going to give the Browns a win here. I think
Okay.
we're going to get our get back. I don't know what the hell happened this past year when we played the Titans. That game was insane. Shout out to my boy Shador Sanders, though, absolutely balled out. And then the clown of Kevin Stefanski somehow takes the ball out of his hands on a 2-point conversion. And just being the undisciplined football team we always were under Kevin Stefanski, we didn't even get the play right. We didn't even get the pitch back to the end around. And, I'm bitter about that still. And, we're getting our get back, and I think we're going to beat them up good. I got us winning here by at least 2 scores.
Okay. Wow. So 4-3 for both of us. Moving on, you have the Browns in Pittsburgh for week 8, I believe. I'm going to give the Browns a loss in this one. I think that, it's hard to go and win on the road against an AFC North opponent. Again, you have to look out for guys like TJ Watt, guys like Cam Hayward. That doesn't change. So I think the Browns, they're going to end up losing this one.
Yes, and we're back on track together because I also have the Browns losing here. Another one of those things where I kind of got to see us win in Pittsburgh to ever say we'll win in Pittsburgh. I mean, it literally has been 20-plus years since it happened. I can literally remember being a child when it did happen, and it's just crazy to me that I'm 31 years old now. And it's like, I don't even think I was in middle school when it happened, which was insane. But, I'll say when it comes to TJ Watt, I actually am not real. I think his decline has been pretty obvious. That's why I think it was a horrible move by Pittsburgh to give him that huge contract. I think Highsmith is a lot better of a player than he is right now. And I mean, don't get me wrong, TJ Watt was a great player, but I just think the injuries have caught up. He's 32 years old now. Will he still be a solid player? Of course, but I think the days of TJ Watt being one of the best, 3-4 outside linebackers in football is over. So it's just, I got to see us win in Pittsburgh, man. It's been too long. And for me to ever say we'll win there, I'm good with picking the split. And we'll see how it goes. It'd be great to finally sweep them, though.
Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah, my mouth, I don't care if we went 2-15, I would be running my mouth the Steelers fans.
2-15, and your only 2 wins are against Pittsburgh. Hey, that's a good season in my book. That's pretty awesome. 4-4 at this point, I believe, for both of us, right?
Yes, sir.
4-4. Moving on to week 9 against the Saints. Browns at the Saints. This one's tough because, Tyler Shuck, he actually had a really good rookie season.
Yeah, he did.
Chris Olave, he's going to be back. Will he be healthy? That's the main question that you need to ask. But I think, the Browns, they match up well against this team, and I'm going to give the Browns a win here.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same. Like you said, Tyler Shuck, he did have a very impressive rookie campaign. I mean, I knew the guy had a cannon. I just didn't expect it. He stayed healthy. But this year, it's year 2. People have more tape. They did add Jordan Tyson, which fantastic player, but will he be healthy? So you're looking at Chris Olave, Jordan Tyson, and Tyler Shuck, all guys with injury history. And if I had to bet, I would think at least one of those guys will be out by this point.
Yeah, probably.
And Jordan Tyson, man, I wish him well. Such a good player. He can't stay healthy, man. I wouldn't expect him to be playing in this game. Praying my boy Olave, as a Buckeyes fan, stays healthy. Love me some Chris Olave. But, I think the Browns match up well here. You have an aging Kamara. I mean, there's just not a whole lot on the defensive side of the ball that I'm too worried about either, and I do expect the Browns to win this game.
Moving on to the Texans, this is going to be a really interesting matchup. The Texans at Cleveland. CJ Stroud, he's a guy that he played one of the worst playoff games I've ever seen in my entire life. for an individual quarterback. And that breaks my heart because I love CJ Stroud to death. He's a Buckeye legend, forever a Buckeye, but he played abysmal in that playoff loss. They have options like Tank Dell, drafted K-Mac, another Buckeye, Caden McDonald. This one's really, really hard. I'm going to give the Texans a win here. I'm going to give the Browns a loss.
I'm doing the same, actually. I just think that defense, man, is so good. I expect CJ to come back strong this year. Not too sure what's going on with him, to be completely honest with you. Yeah, that playoff game was rough to watch. I do expect him to bounce back pretty hard this year, and I think Houston's a legitimate Super Bowl contender if he does. I just think they have the best defense in football, man, and it's going to be hard to get any offense going for anybody against that team. Just one of those games I just feel like it could go either way. My heart tells me to pick the Browns here, but my gut says go Texans. So I'm going to take the Texans to beat the Browns in Cleveland.
Absolutely. Moving on to Week 11, the Week 11 matchup against the Las Vegas Raiders. You know, the Raiders, they were a team that I thought would make some more moves to help Fernando Mendoza out, the number 1 overall pick. They really didn't. And that's as a Raiders, if you're a Raiders fan, I'll be really disappointed. And I'm going to give the Browns a win here. And I'm going to say that the Browns are going to be 6-5 at this point.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you about definitely thought, especially with the cap situation they had going on, that they would really get some weapons because everybody knew Mendoza was going first overall, but now you're still looking at like Trey Tucker as your wide receiver 1, which no disrespect to him. I think he's a solid player, but is he a wide receiver 1? Absolutely not. And I just Clint Kubiak, we'll see what his scheme can do in Vegas. I still think they're a year off. I would expect Genty to play a lot better this year. But overall, I think the Browns are just a better football team right now. So I do agree with you. I have the Browns 6-5 to this point.
And of course, you know, you can't just look at receivers. You have to look at tight ends. Brock Bowers, if he's healthy, that's going to be their number 1 target, their primary target, 100%. So watch out for a guy like Brock Bowers. But, you know, he missed some time last year and with injury. So who knows? But if they have Brock Bowers, I still think the Browns are going to get this one done, and they're going to be 6-5.
Yep.
Moving on to Week 12, they have the Bengals at the Browns. This one's tough. You know, in previous years, we've been able to dominate Joe Burrow. It's actually kind of funny how well the Browns, no matter how terrible they are, they've been able to match up against this Bengals team for whatever reason really, really well. Obviously, Zach Taylor is back for another year, so no changes coaching-wise. They still have pretty much the same receiver core, of course, the same quarterback. I'm going to give the Browns a win here to go to 7-5.
I am right there with you, brother. I have the Browns winning this game because, like you said, for some odd reason, we just seem to have their number. And a lot of it is, honestly, it's the defensive line. And I expect a lot of the same. And, I mean, December 6th, we'll see who's healthy and who's not. For the Bengals' sake and for Joe Burrow, I like Joe Burrow. I hope he does stay healthy. The Bengals just don't ever seem like they really want to help this guy out and get him a real offensive line, which, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say they didn't address a little bit and improve some things. But I'm just not hopeful that line's going to be good. So, you know, you got Chase in the backfield. I expect him to do damage. Obviously, you got Jamar Chase on the outside along with Higgins. I mean, they're a tough football team. I just think our defensive line, for whatever reason, especially in Cleveland, always dominates the Bengals. So I'm going to go ahead and agree with you here, and I have us at 7-5.
And I'm actually going to make a correction. The Browns' bye week is in week it's after Houston Texans matchup in week 11 of the NFL season. So this is actually week 13. I said week 12. This is week 13. So moving on to week 14 against the Atlanta Falcons. This one, we all know what the storyline is going to be here, and this is important for several reasons. Of course, like I mentioned with the Baltimore Ravens, it's one of those things that Stefanski, he's watched these guys for years. He's going to know what the tendencies are for a lot of these players. Even Shadur, which he only watched for a year, but that's going to be an advantage. We have Mike Rutenberg, a defensive coordinator, which we stole from the Atlanta Falcons, of course, former defensive line coach. I'm going to give the Browns a win here to move on to 8-5. I think the Falcons, they're a talented team. Drake London with a new contract extension, he's a guy that they're going to have to look out for. Kyle Pitts, that's a guy who they're going to have to look out for. And it'll be interesting to see who ends up winning that quarterback battle in Atlanta.
Yeah. I also have us winning this game. This is going to be an extremely undisciplined football team. And as a communication major, I would like to shout out Stefanski because he's got the best PR team I've ever seen. I mean, the most mid to below average coach I've ever seen that gets talked up in the media as if he is the next great thing in the NFL. But yeah, we're at home for this one too, so I expect that stadium to be packed to bark him out of the stadium while the Browns whoop the Falcons down.
This next week against the Giants, I am going to give the Browns a loss. John Harbaugh, he's in town. He's taking over the reins in New York. I think Jackson Dart, he's going to take a leap in year 2. I think that Malik Neighbors, he's going to be healthy. He's going to be a huge factor into this offense. Isaiah Likely, of course, followed his former head coach to New York, and I think they have plenty of talent. Tyrone Tracy's in town on that offense, so I think that they're going to defeat the Browns.
Another disagreement. I got us winning 4 in a row here. I got us sitting at 9-5 after we travel over to MetLife right there on the New York border in New Jersey. I don't know. We'll see if Jackson Dart can stay healthy. I actually like Jackson Dart a lot coming into the draft last year, but he needs to learn how to get out of bounds, man. So we'll see if he made that kind of improvement. I mean, of course, Malik Neighbors, we'll see how he bounces back this year. Don't forget they brought back their own Odell Beckham Jr.'s back in the building. We'll see if he can even get you 500-600 yards. That would be pretty impressive from him. No, I always liked Odell. Even when he was in Cleveland, it didn't work out. It is what it is. But I like the Browns' chances here. I think it's a sweet matchup between Todd and John. And I think Todd's going to want a lot to have something to prove here. And I think we're on a roll, 3 straight. Why not make it 4 and win this one?
Hey, the Browns, or the Giants, I mean, Cam Scatterbo, he's also going to be back. They have Darnell Mooney, Darius Slayton. If Malik Neighbors, if he is healthy, I just don't see the Browns winning this one. On the defensive side of the ball, they signed one of our own, Shelby Harris, drafted one of our own, Arvell Reese. So they have some talent on the defensive side of the ball. Kayvon Thibodeau and Abdul Carter.
We'll see what Abdul does. He didn't live up to expectations. I actually really liked him coming out. So we'll see if he'll bounce back this year, which I think he has all the talent to do. But I'm not a believer right now, man. I'm not a believer. I'll say it.
Another note, they did also sign former Browns defensive back Greg Newsome. So that was another offseason addition for this Giants team. I kind of forgot about that too. So you have the Browns at 9-5. I have the Browns 8-6 at this point. Looking at this Ravens matchup, I'm going to give the Browns a loss here. That would be their second loss in a row. It's going to be hard for this Browns team to win against the Ravens twice.
I picked them to lose in Cleveland, so it's a little different for me, but I am picking them to lose this game as well in Baltimore. I don't think Baltimore is that team anymore that you're going to see just a Super Bowl favorite. I mean, you might see that through some of the media, but I think this is a team that's going to, be playing for something still at this point. And according to my record at 9-5, so are we. I just think the Ravens are all around a better football team right now. So I do have this one marked up as a loss for the Browns.
Moving on to this Colts matchup, the Colts taking on the Browns in Cleveland. This is going to be an interesting matchup. The Colts, they lost Michael Pittman Jr. to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They paid Alec Pierce. This one's tough. This one's really, really tough. And I'm going to give the Browns a win here.
One of my best buddies, Daryl, shout out to you. He's a Colts fan. And that's something I talked to him about. I was just like, man, why would you trade Pittman to the Steelers and then pay Alex Pierce, wide receiver, one money? And it's not that Alex Pierce isn't a good receiver. He is. But a wide receiver one, I don't see it.
I think they're banking on Alec Pierce taking that leap. And again, I also personally don't see it. There's just not a lot of talent on this offensive side of the ball. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, of course. Daniel Jones, he was looking like a star for a few weeks in that season, but then he went down with an injury. We'll see how he can respond. And then looking on the defensive side of the ball, Grover Stewart, he's been a good defensive tackle for years in this league now. Of course, DeForest Buckner. But guys like JT Tuimoloau, former Buckeye, he didn't have, as impactful of a rookie season. Sauce Gardner, you're going to look to see if he can stay consistent. And Travarius Ward, that's another guy just looking for some consistency. So I'm comfortable giving the Browns a win here.
I have them winning this game, so at this point I have them at 10-6.
I have this team at 9-7 at this point, I believe. The final week of the year, this one's hard, but I am going to say the Browns are going to lose this game. And I think that, again, it's hard to win these divisional matchups twice. And I think that, Joe Burrow, again, he's going to come out dominating and he's going to come out fast. This offense is going to come out fast with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And I think, again, they're going to end up winning this game over the Browns.
Yeah, so I also have this is a loss. So say Joe Burrow. This is where it gets fun for the prediction because I agree with you. I have them marked up for a loss as well. But say Burrow and these guys stay healthy and they've won. They clinched up the AFC North. Do they sit people? And this could give us a shot to finish.
That's true.
So I do have them as a loss as well, but it will be fun to see if the Bengals, stay healthy this year because we all know they're all and their defense. It surprised me a little bit because they did start performing better deeper into the year, which I don't know, man. I thought that was going to be the worst defense ever in the history of the NFL last year, and they got together a little bit at the end of the year. And it was still a bad defense, just not as historically bad as I thought. But I do have them losing this game to go 10-7, but that will be, say, we're 10-6 going into this game, according to my schedule that I got here, and say the Bengals sat everybody, and that bumps us to 11-6, and say we made the playoffs that way. That would, yeah. So you finished at 9-8, and me at 10-7. Looking at the schedule, actually sitting down and breaking this down, it gave me a little bit more hope now, just kind of looking at it and seeing how things play out. It's going to be a fun year. It's going to be a fun year.
One thing about these Browns teams, in some of these terrible seasons that we've witnessed as fans, it can be fun just watching these guys play, no matter win or loss. And I think that, regardless, it's going to be a fun year. It's going to be interesting to see guys like Shadur Sanders, Quinshon Judkins, watching how these guys grow throughout the season. I went through this entire schedule assuming that Shadur would be the quarterback. It doesn't sound like that is a guarantee. So that's something you have to look out for. I don't think that there's any conceivable way that you can let Deshaun Watson quarterback this team. I think that it has run its course. I think that, we haven't seen good results with it. and it would be foolish to run that back for another season.
Yeah, and I agree. And before I go on my rant about why I feel the way that I do, I just want to go over the last 7 games that Deshaun Watson started in 2024 before the injuries. And let's talk about not just the first torn Achilles. He retore it because he was out there being an idiot on vacation, not taking anything seriously. So that's why he retore it, but whatever. So let's talk about it. So 7 games in 2024 for Deshaun Watson. He was 1-6. He had 1,148 passing yards, which was 164 yards per game. He had 5 touchdowns and only 3 interceptions, and he had 33 sacks taken. Everybody that's, always on me on the internet, he can't get the ball out fast enough, completely understand that. Well, let's talk about Shedeur Sanders. 3-4 record in 7 starts last season. Much worse supporting cast on the offensive line and wide receiver group. He threw for 175 yards per game. He had 7 touchdown passes, which was still more than Deshaun. He did have, the 10 interceptions. He has to work on that, but he had 10 less sacks, 23 sacks taken.
And I think with Shedeur, you saw as his starts went on, as the season went on, you saw his awareness increased. You saw his ability, his athletic ability. You saw that on display as the season went on. And I think that you just need to see him use his legs more. And I think that he has much better pocket awareness, pocket presence than Deshaun Watson has ever had in the Cleveland uniform. You mentioned it. Deshaun's inability to avoid pressure. It's not just the offensive line. Some of that blame does go on Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, and this is my thing. We were looking at Shedeur Sanders last year. He was a rookie. What was Deshaun Watson's excuse in Cleveland? I mean, this guy wasn't just a rookie. He was in year 10. Exactly. And he threw 5 touchdowns in 7 games. The Browns didn't pay Deshaun Watson $230 million guaranteed to be slightly more careful with the football than a rookie. Go make plays, elevate the offense. That's what we signed you for. But he didn't. Shedeur threw for more yards. He averaged more passing yards per game, obviously. Shedeur threw more touchdown passes. He had better rushing opportunities, and he rushed the ball more efficiently. He was sacked less often. Why in the world would this team go back to starting Deshaun Watson? We've seen 19 games in Cleveland, and it has been horrible. This guy's been in the league almost a decade at this point. He's coming off the shoulder surgery, 2 torn Achilles. Go find me one player in NFL history, I don't care what the position is, that has ever came back at 30-plus years old, coming off a shoulder surgery and 2 torn Achilles and, elevated back to a high-level football player. We haven't seen this guy play high-level football since 2019, 2020. He hasn't played high-level football in Cleveland once, and you got clowns that just hate Shedeur Sanders. They hate him. That they just, he's the better quarterback. No, he's not. He's not. And I'm so tired of it, man. I wanted to get that out there and just smash on it. There is just no reason that this team should be starting Deshaun Watson. It makes me sick to even think about it, to be completely honest with you. There's my hot take Jake rant of the week.
What a rant as we close this episode of the Scarlet to the Land podcast. So this has been the Scarlet to the Land podcast. Go Bucks.
Go Bucks and go Browns.